Hello YouTube, Mike at Carbonite Lab, back again with another video for you. This one is my newly completed Wave Serpent, painted up for my Saim Hann Warhost. This was a model that I've been kind of waiting to get done, and it's been just taking a little bit longer than I expected because I really only had a chance to paint on it just one day a week for like a month, so a little bit here, a little bit there. But I finally got it done, and actually got to use him in a game last week for his first maiden voyage, so to speak, his maiden battle. But this was the first Wave Serpent I've ever purchased brand new and put together and painted. The other Wave Serpents I have in my Warhost are ones that I purchased used. I think one I actually got free in a trade or something like that, but they were really bad paint jobs, horrible thick paint. And they're just painted, cleaned up a little bit and painted in the Bale Tan style, green color. And eventually I'll get to painting those, but since I was building the Saim Hann Warhost and committed to all the jet bikes and the Vipers and everything, I decided I was going to buy a brand new Wave Serpent and do the Warhost justice and build it from the ground up. So on this one, that's exactly what I did. You've seen my other videos and you know that red is a color I truly like to paint. And on this one, I learned a few more things. I got to say that it's one thing I like about this hobby is that the more I paint, the more I play. And when you do this enough, you find that you learn things almost every single time. And it's funny, when you paint enough of these things, you think, how can I learn anything else? Until you come across something like, hey, that's different, let's try it. And case in point, when I did this one, I went a little bit easier on the highlights. On previous models, whether it's my Saim Hann or my Blood Angels, I end up with too much of an orange look to it when I'm done putting the highlights on. So on this one, I decided to go a little bit lighter. I still use my basic colors of red for my base color, my mid-tone, I guess you'd say, and then went in afterwards and put the mahogany in for my shadows, and then used the orange for my highlights. But instead of getting really, really bright with the highlights, I just chose those really extreme points just to give it some color without putting too much orange down on the model. The other thing that I did different, instead of inking all these little panel sections where they butt together, instead of inking those in black, I inked them in the red ink this time, which I think really helped bring the red back into it, and then just went back in with black in some of the darker areas and inked that. I think that came out pretty well. So that was one of the lessons I learned doing this, that I got to go a little bit easier on some of those highlights to keep the orange from looking too obvious. I like that the Wave Serpent, because of this back piece, it has a little bit more character to the rear end, which makes your eye kind of go around the model a little bit better, and it gives it more interest in the rear as opposed to it just being chopped off back here like your Falcon or your Fire Prism chassis. So that gives it a little bit more interest back there. The weapons platform on top, the twin-linked scatter lasers, I haven't magnetized them yet, and that's sadly because I didn't have the magnets, I didn't have the proper size. So in the interest of building it and getting on the table, I left the stock as is, and we'll probably go back later once I get magnets and put them on there. But for game purposes, it stays on there, a little wobbly until you just push it down. I decided to do the scatter lasers because, well, let's face it, if you're playing Eldar, you're probably playing a Wave Serpent because of the shield, and of course the scatter lasers, you can twin link that shield. So instead of painting the scatter lasers just all black, which would make them contrast better on the model, I decided to paint the certain pieces of it that red color, which to me makes it look a little bit more techy, but it also gives it different flavor. The downside to it is that once you have the turret on the model, if I can get it to sit on the stock here and place it, the red actually kind of blends in a little bit, so it's not really something that you notice that much, especially here on camera, but I wished I would have probably gone with a little bit more contrast so the weapons stick out a little bit, but that's just me being anal. A little bit freaked out by the little veins that stick off, is even on the command sprue upgrade piece here, because they're pretty fiddly and eventually they're going to break off. Oh, back to this piece actually. Get my little pointer in here. Whoop, had to go with red. This piece is actually an upgrade for the command sprue, and when I was at the store buying the model, I had a gift card, so I needed to spend like 11 more bucks to use up the entire gift card, and they had the command sprue upgrade there, so I purchased it, and I was like, well, I can put this node piece on there, that'll be cool, it'll make it the command vehicle. So that's what I did, and it came out pretty cool. I like this little piece. It gives the Wave Serpent a little bit more, character. We're going to use that word. Speaking of character, the gemstones are all painted. I hit all the gemstones this time instead of leaving them for trophies of war to add on later, and I'm happy I did. Instead of looking at all the different blisters, like the two in the front and everything, that's on the vehicle, and painting all those as gemstones. To me, they can't all be gemstones. So I selected the ones that to me would seem like they're actually deliberately stones set into the vehicle for a purpose, so to speak. So of course, on the actual veins for the shield, they're going to get stones. That's the spirit stone for the vehicle, which is a separate piece you just attach to the vehicle. And of course, a little bit there for the vein of the weapons platform itself, and the command sprue node. I don't even know what else to call it. So I put those gemstones on there, got them painted, glossed them up after everything was done, and they look pretty good. I'm happy with them. Let me show you real quick. I got the underside of this vehicle a little bit dirtied up, kind of a cool weathering way. I used black, obviously, and then I just came in with a gray and just hit it with the airbrush real light, and then streaked it with a big brush to kind of give it like that weathered movement, kind of like reverse soot look. I think it came out pretty well. Dirtied up the engines just a little bit. It is Eldar. They got their wraith bone that has a self-cleaning property, but it's got to get some dirt on it. That ring you probably see right there, that's where I have the magnet that works with the stand. When you build the Wave Serpent, this whole piece back here is a separate piece that slides onto the existing chassis, and there's just enough room in there for a big rare earth magnet like I got here. Bought it at Walmart, glued it in, and it makes for a great just connection point for the base itself. Works pretty good and doesn't really create a lot of problems. It's got a nice easy snap to it. It doesn't pull the paint off, and you don't have a big ugly magnet looking at you when you pull the base off. So that was cool. Did that different, and because the Wave Serpent's got that extra piece in the rear, it gives it that length in the rear, and of course that rear interest we talked about. I think I like to do that piece on every one of these chassis from here on out, whether it's a Fire Prism or a Falcon. I'm currently thinking about buying 2 night spinners for my armory, so I might try and find this rear piece of the Wave Serpent to add on to it, just for that cool visual interest. So there's the paint scheme on it. Come out pretty good. Now, real quick, I got just a few more minutes. The way that you play this, I mean, if you're Eldar, you're playing Wave Serpents because they're awesome. It's arguably, I'm sorry, I don't think you'll find anybody that'll argue the fact that it's actually the best transport in the game currently. Now, that is saying that with 6th edition setting into the horizon, and 7th edition is going to be here in just a couple of days, that does provide a change for the Wave Serpent in the fact that you can't just get a jinx save by doing that. So now you're going to have to declare when you want to use your jink. At least that's what they're saying 7th edition is going to do. So if you move out and you get shot at, you can declare a jink to get that jink save. The downside is that you're going to be snap shooting the next turn. So is it really going to be that important? Or Hollow Field's going to be that important? That'll be something that'll be, we'll have to try out and see what happens. But, for what you get, you add here's the typical loadout. We'll just go with that. Add they upgrade the actual twin link scatter lasers in the front, so you get twin link on the shield when you shoot that out. Just the regular catapults in the front. They're twin link. You're not going to be using those a whole lot. I do get the Spirit Stone on there, so I can get the ability to knock down whatever kind of penetration I get. And I would run Hollow Fields in 6th edition, and I put a 5-man squad of Dire Avengers in there, and that's 200 points. Not bad for what you get. For scoring troops, the fast transport, that's got some bonuses and a strong weapon. That's pretty good. 7th edition is only going to change that marginally with that Jinx save, so not really a whole lot's going to change, with the exception of I may not be putting hollow fields on there. It's going to be something I'll have to try. So there you go, guys. That's my video for my new Wave Serpent. The rambling, of course, that just comes with every video. But if you like what you saw, like the video, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, sit down with your family, watch it 20 times, let everybody know. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.